Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Florida Men Podcast. Well, welcome, because this is now not episode 0 anymore. This is the official episode 1. We're in the future.
Prequels are done. Prequels are done.
Yeah,
yes.
That's right. Yeah, with the prequel is usually the thing that comes after the first bits, isn't it? So
it could be
whatever that was. This is the sequel.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Of many, hopefully, sequels. Right. I'm going to go back here a little bit in time here. My name's Chris, and I'm speaking with Canadian Kev.
Hello.
Hello. And if you remember from the last time, which we were just discussing, did we remember what the idea behind this show was? We're on Zoom at the moment, and I've just noticed you have a very Tony Stark style goatee going on.
This is lockdown laziness. That's what this is. I'm hoping at some point there will be like a Mr. Lockdown contest or something in the UK. whose appearance has gone from who's deteriorated the most. I'm usually relatively okay, and I'm going for homeless.
What a great idea though is to have like the sort of lockdown Olympics where you had the best looking, the worst looking, the most growth, the least growth. What else could there be on that? Just
the most apathetic appearance. Like I just don't care. The winner.
Yeah, and then somebody who's just really proud of the way that they've turned out after lockdown.
I think people. It's almost like coming out as a butterfly. I think people have gone in and they haven't seen their friends in 4 months, and I think some people are like, if I had 2 more months, I would just show them. They wouldn't. It'd be like Castaway. I'd be like, I'd be a volleyball. I'd just come out looking scary. But anyways, that's our other podcast. So, the Lockdown Podcast doesn't.
Yeah. On the subject of podcasts, we're doing one. This is what this is. And as a reminder, we said that we would find a Florida man story that we would try and compete with each other. So who generated the best Florida man story? True stories, or as far as we're aware, they're true. And these stories sort of help me out here. They need to be, as I say, so an element that
reported in the news, and we'll assume the news is real, contrary to popular
some sort
belief.
It includes some sort of crackpot style criminal scam or some sort of caper.
Yes. And reported in the news, and the weirder, the funnier, the more outlandish. Can we say crazier is crazier? Are you allowed to say crazy these days?
I mean, I think so.
Okay, the crazier the better.
Crazy fits. I was going to say it by association of it being a criminal act, it would involve police, but it wouldn't be the police that we're talking about. It's our Florida man that would generate the craziness. And I'm just looking at, I've written some notes here that it doesn't have to have animals. If it does, it probably will be a reptile.
Inevitably, yeah.
Yeah, and also supernatural is not necessarily mentioned, but could be implied. There's what's it? Oh yeah, and also drug use is probably in there as well.
I think that we should honestly one of these weeks have a one where drug use is definitely not a factor. That's going to be a challenge for us.
And the reptile special, which it has to include a reptile.
Absolutely.
So that is the idea. So I've got a story here, and then you have a story there as well. Who wants to go first?
You can go ahead. Go ahead. So we'll do your story, and then we either discuss it if we want to discuss it, or we hold until we're making this up as we go along. Clearly, everybody out there. So this is what happens. So Chris is going to go first with his regale us with his story. These are typically quite quickly, a couple of minutes at the most.
Yeah. We might fill in some extra bits of our conjecture.
Yes.
But the point of this is to say what was reported. Now, I have got here a Florida man was arrested Thursday night. Now, I'm just frantically trying to find when this was in 2019.
The Thursday's irrelevant at that point in time.
Yeah. But I like the fact that this was Thursday night, because it almost suggests that not Wednesday nights, guy. Or Tuesday. This is the one that happened on Thursday.
And if that's what Thursday's like, Jesus Christ, what's Saturday night like?
Yeah, that's like you've got to prepare for Friday, Saturday. It'll probably be a slow Sunday. Right now, then, ultimately, it's a simple, it's cut and dry, right? Okay, this guy's arrested because he had more than 40 grams of cocaine found on his possession. Now, I've only been to America a handful of times, and I never encountered the police whilst I was there. But you might, I don't know, being Canadian, I don't know whether this was there's a similar sort of factor, but traffic stops seem to be a big news in the States. There's a copper on every corner. Sort of.
You do nothing, and then they hope that they find something. That seems to be, I'm not going to get into the, anything with the morals of the police, but I mean, it's happened to me a couple of times where I'm just.
But there seems to be
driving.
There's a lot of police around.
Yeah, you're driving. Like we were driving. I was driving through Utah on a road trip, and minding my own business, just driving one of those, just long stretches of highway with nothingness. And then this tiny, tiny car appeared in the rearview mirror, and within about 12 seconds, it was it was like Mad Max. The thing just snuck up behind me, and pulled you over for failing to indicate 17 miles ago or something like that when you've been on a straight road for 150 miles. And then you can tell they're looking around. Is there any drugs? Is there a gun? Is there whatever? It's probably boring out there. That's probably why half of this stuff happens. They're just bored.
This is a good point. Yeah. So anyway, these things happen, right? This is not, that bit isn't uncommon, but actually, when you find something on a guy, it's like, right, okay, let's sort him out. So this is what it says here. It says, according to, this is Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Okay. So do we name the criminal? It's reported.
It's in the news. We're just reporting the news. You'd read it on the news. So we're not breaching any confidentiality or non-disclosures or anything. I don't think.
So the guy's name's Melvin. He's 37. And he's charged with, as I say, cocaine trafficking and resisting arrest. So he must have put up a bit of a fight to begin with. Right, okay. Now, but anyway, it doesn't matter because they've arrested him and they've got him in the back of a car. Now, let's just see. He's tried to outrun them. Right, so this is where he's the resisting
while in the back of the car. That's difficult.
No, so this I think that's probably happened after. It doesn't say I've noticed that a lot of these reports sort of jump around in their paragraphs. But so he's tried to run away. He's tasered by one of the officers, and then they found 4 baggies. So it wasn't a big bundle of. I'm pretty useless when it comes to weight, let alone drug weight. And this is 41 grams split over 4 bags.
I always equate weight when it's grams to like a chocolate bar.
But yeah, you could say that.
A regular normal dairy milk that you'd buy, not the family one, not the big one, but it's about 60 grams, I think. So go with that.
You're kidding?
About that, yeah.
So it's about about 3/4 of that.
That's the ones that cost 70 pence. The ones that cost £2, that's usually 100 grams or so. Like the fancy ones. You get the fancy chocolate, the Lindt.
So we could. From now on, I can use that as my measurement gauge. Okay.
If nothing else has come out of this podcast at all, there you go. That's a life skill.
So Melvin is arrested. He tries to leg it, and he gets chucked in the back of the car. And then this is where the Florida man story really begins, because what he does is he decides I might as well just start eating the seat. So he starts eating the police car's seats. They stop him in time, not before he causes about $1,000 worth of damage, according to the officers. And then the officers say he's combative.
He's also hungry.
They put hungry, and then took him to Fisherman's Hospital. In Marathon, and I've got to say that there's a few names here. Fisherman's Hospital, just odd. Marathon, isn't that Greek? And finally, the outcome of this is he was medically cleared and then taken to jail. That is my Florida man story. Good old Melvin Stubbs.
The Fisherman's Hospital, is that just for fishermen? And if so, is Melvin a fisherman?
He doesn't say that, but it is capitalized.
There's a chain. There's Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco, Fisherman's Hospital in Florida. There's, I don't know, Fisherman's Shopping Center in
there's the
Minnesota.
Fisherman's Cinema. Anyway, so that's now that was reported by, if you want to see that, CBS Miami. If
Oh,
you wanted
yes.
to follow that any further. Although I do have some comments. I mean, maybe there's one comment here. It says, odd. I thought cocaine was more of an appetite suppressant. I think that's the best part of the story.
Oh, I mean, he was medically cleared though. I mean, that's physically, I'm guessing, because I mean, if
So,
I've never been locked in. Actually, you know what? I have been locked in the back of a police car, but that's another story for another day. That was a long time ago, and I was innocent. Believe me,
that's my story. That's my
that's a
story.
great story. I'm hungry just thinking about it. Actually. All right. So
Okay.
over to me.
Okay, Kev, you're up.
All right. So this one comes from NBC Channel 6 News in South Florida. Got to plug them, you know.
Yes, I realised that when I said mine, I was like, if I'm misquoted, then I'll tell you who I misquoted it from.
There you go. There you go. Blame them. All right. The headline is Man Charged with Stripping in Stranger's Home. This is from, actually, this is quite old, February 9th, 2014. So I'm sure everybody's fine now. But a man was charged after deputies said he walked into another person's house, removed his clothes, and shouted nonsensical phrases before resisting arrest. So far, so normal. So the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office said a man named Conrad Hopper walked through. They even give addresses. This is crazy. Maybe I won't say the address just in case people swarm the house looking for mementos. Palm Beach Sheriff's Office said a man named Conrad Hopper walked through the unlocked door of a home at Bracelet Drive Saturday night in Lake Worth. Deputies said Hopper was in a state of, air quotes, excited delirium. The person inside.
What would that be? What would that? I mean, delirium
And
is
excited,
one thing,
though.
but then add excited on top of that.
The depressed delirium. Well, that's the kind. So the person inside the home was feeding his aunt's dog at the time and told deputies that Hopper appeared intoxicated, but not from alcohol. So
This is interesting because it's like you said there, his aunt's dog. He was feeding his aunt's dog,
Aunties.
and my brain just went. He was feeding his aunt's a dog, and it must have been a millisecond before I was like, no, you've heard that wrong.
We'll do a choose your own adventure. So aunt, auntie, brothers, his dad's sisters, whatever. Okay. So anyways, he appeared intoxicated, not from alcohol. Hopper then began touching the victim's face and tried to take the victim's glasses off. Hopper then started taking off all his clothes while making loud, nonsensical statements. So the victim left the house and called 911. Now you're waiting to hear what the nonsensical statements are, right?
Yes.
It's coming. When authorities arrived, this is after the police have arrived, they said they saw Hopper walking around completely naked in a menacing manner. I don't know what was menacing in his nakedness, and breaking objects in the house. He was shouting statements such as, and I'll just do this in my normal voice.
Of course, yeah.
He was shouting statements such as 5, 6, 7, 8, grandma, grandma, girlfriend, 1, 2, 3, 4, according to deputies. That's just
this is like sound test at a U2 concert. It's kind of like
grandma.
grandma.
He eventually walked out through the back door of the house holding a large clock. It gets worse. In the pyramid of craziness, we've got the foundation. He eventually walked through the back door of the house holding a large clock with sharp utensils protruding from its border, deputies said. Officials told him to lie down on his face, and he sat down instead. When officials released canine officers, it just keeps building, Hopper started punching them and trying to gouge their eyes out. He did the same when he was approached by 4 human deputies. Finally, Hopper was subdued by a stun gun, but it took 6 more deputies and fire rescue members to restrain him. Hopper was taken to Wellington Hospital for evaluation. He was charged with burglary, simple battery, criminal mischief, aggravated battery on a law enforcement officer, battery on a canine officer, and resisting arrest with violence.
Holy shit! I tell you
scene.
what. Right. Okay. I had resisting arrest, and drugs. You went. Oh yeah, and of course criminal damage. You had 7 things that this guy was up in court for.
Just for the
That's
the
incredible.
listeners, we do sell a Florida Man bingo card that you can take at home, and for each crazy charge, you can scratch out a swear.
That is insane. Look, I don't. This was never a kind of in the terms of a battle. It was never meant to be a. I will defend my honor and my case.
No. We want gold.
I genuinely thought, I've got that's fairly a strong one, but I'm giving this to you. Because I can't.
Nice of you.
I just can't cope with.
It's the levels.
The amount.
It's the levels.
It is. That's
it's like Kramer. It's levels, Jerry.
Yes, and do you know when I was thinking about my guy, it was like everything seemed fine up until a point. It's like there's your twist, there's your Florida man, but you were going no. A Florida man walked into. It's like the Florida guy had already started, and then it was like I'm going to add this on, and this is the kind of like if you look through a Domino's menu, and it's
I don't know where we're going with this.
Before you go down to the checkout, you are asked about 8 questions about would you like a dessert? What toppings would you like? Would you like a side?
Would you like some police car seat upholstery?
And then you get to the checkout, and even at the checkout, you're like, "Do you want to apply a deal to it? Do you have about?" Now that is your levels, and I've got no issues. The first podcast, Victor is without question.
Oh.
It's Canadian Kev.
Do I get a vote, or is this a dictatorship?
Well, if you want to, I tell you what. No, of course you get a vote, but my vote is going with you.
No, I'll vote for myself. I'll make it easy.
I mean, you can vote for this one if you want, but I was proud of Melvin for some time, and I was like, no, but now I've realised, okay, you take this, right? Okay, 1-0. The problem is, are you able to come close to that?
Have I come out of the gate too quickly? Is the question. We'll see. I'm going for the good starting. I'm going for the opening of Star Wars. If it was just started somewhere boring, but you get that big ship flying overhead and everybody's tuned in at that point.
Whereas mine was Phantom Menace about a bunch of trade wars and
in car upholstery.
Senate hearings and okay, right. Tell you what, I'll mention to Mark Potter who. Pointed out that the fact that there was that cocaine was more of an appetite suppressant, but I will absolutely give the first episode to you.
Oh, thank you so much.
I would be interested to hear if our listeners thought that, and at some point we're going to open up our, I guess, opportunity to speak, aren't we? That's
whatever the equivalent of phone lines are. There's no phone lines aren't open at all. Comments on
whether it be email or some sort of Facebooky thing, or I don't know how these things work, but at some point I guess we could
there'll be a link below this
when it's somewhere. If there's a link, use it. That's the well-known phrase or saying.
Is it?
If there's a link,
use it.
I've just done it. That's the Florida Men podcast. If there's a link, use it. That's
bumper stickers are also available with the bingo cards.
The t-shirt and the cap. Make podcasts great again. Right. Anything else from you?
No. This has been fun, and this will keep morphing, and we do want involvement from everybody. Today's was just us getting on our feet and showing what this is about. We want to collaborate, want to hear from you, but we just want to have fun and tell stupid stories. That's the end goal, I think.
Perfect. And I couldn't agree more. It's if you just need that little bit of a break, come here. A bit of fun. And hopefully we've done enough for you to see us next time round.
Thank you.
Or listen to us.
See us. Well,
right.
That's season 2.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay, bye.